So I wanted to do a very short video on a topic that I've always wanted to see on YouTube, but that's not really discussed that often. It is about family support. So if you're going through this experience of being in jail or prison, and you're not the only one doing time. That's what my therapist would say. That also the people in your family are also doing time with you, and for folks, who are going through this process, I know there's a lot of shame, there's a lot of embarrassment. How do I try to, have this relationship with my family when I'm locked up? And so I want to share with you my personal story of how I kind of have gone through this. And part of my upbringing is that, obviously I am the first person in my family to go through this experience of being a part of the criminal justice system. I thought that my initial reaction was that my family would essentially disown me, that they didn't want anything to do with me, that they thought that whatever I did was kind of my fault, and that and so that was how I operated, but that didn't actually happen that way. When I first got arrested, the person who I wanted to talk to the most was my mom, because I'm very close to her, but I couldn't, because she was dealing with a lot of personal stuff on her side, and for me to kind of pile on top of that probably would have been too much. And so I reached out to my brother in the beginning, because he's somebody who obviously would know what to do, would be able to gauge how I can share information with my mom. And I didn't have a great relationship with him. We didn't talk much. We left each other alone with our lives. So when I came to my brother really, with open arms, was willing to help me through this process. And it had really strengthened my relationship with my brother, to the point where, as he's growing up and he's doing his life things, I could be there for him, in which if this horrible experience had never happened, I don't think I would have been as big part of his life. I know it sounds kind of horrible, right? That I wouldn't have done it unless, I owed him this whole experience. But still, I am so much better of a human being now, because I am a part of his life, and I know, what to do. So, with the things that's going on in his life. And I learned that, even though there's the inclination to say, let's shut this person out, what I've learned from my family is that family is family, no matter what, and you have to we're all in it together. And so my brother actually ended up bringing my dad back in the picture, which is another person who wasn't really part of my life. And the two of them were my biggest supports through most of the arrest portion. And when my case got really serious, that's when, for me, everything fell apart. And this is actually how it relates to why I went to jail. Many years later, after my initial arrest. And my parents, my mom actually found out that I was arrested because I called her from jail, essentially, saying that I was arrested. And my brother and my dad had obviously, before that phone call happened, I tried to explain it to them. They didn't want my mom to be a part of my case, or at least be a part of what's going on, because they felt like it would damage her mental health. And I absolutely agree with that. I didn't want her to be a part of it, but she remarkably handled it a lot better than I did, in terms of knowing the information and being able to accept what was being told to her. She really was, she supported me the way I would expect her to support. But what I probably expected a lot more was yelling and screaming, because that's what moms do, and she didn't. And sometimes I feel very suspicious about the fact that she hasn't been harder on me since I've gotten my case. And I'm glad that I have basically now universal family support from my brother, from my mom, from my dad. And I couldn't have done this without them. But I think it's always, you go back and say, could I have done this differently and not have to put my family through it? That has been the biggest challenge. And I will say, here are two major tips that I want to give to you if you're questioning whether or not you want your family to be involved, and it is your choice. One is, how much media coverage is your case getting? That is a major factor. If there's a lot of media coverage, one of the things I know from personal experience is you do not want to have your family member be photographed by the media, and then it's their face splashed on front of the paper or website, not yours, and then saying, this is the relative of the person who's being charged. That's traumatic for them, and that's not what you want to put your family through. So if there's high media coverage, the best advice you can give to your family member is that, no, general, don't come to court, to be in the gallery where you can have your picture taken. In the age of COVID, you can actually have a mask on. I don't know if that makes too much of a difference, but in general, you do not need them to have to be there in the courtroom. You can also have them be outside of the courtroom, and when they see your lawyer come out, you can to have them talk to your lawyer while you're kind of separated off, so that you're not all taken into one big photograph. The second thing to consider is, if you have family that are concerned about reputation and what's going to happen, it is really hard to just say, I'm going to pick up all my stuff and leave. I think part of the thing that you're going to have to do is, as an individual who's involved in a case, you're going to have to shut down all your social media, and then you're going to have to delete most of your family members so that they don't see those connections, because that's typically how media find out more information about you or about your family, is through the social media networks. So when you go dark, make sure that you also are disconnecting from all the other connections that you have from your family online. It doesn't mean that you can't continue talking to your family on the phone or whatever, but you don't want to leave any of the content that's online that's identifiable. And of course, you have to remind your family members, if there are pictures of us together, can you hide them or delete them for now or whatever, so that it doesn't come back to, for you to get, unwanted attention. So those are my 2 tips. But I'll try to talk more about family, because my own family, how we've dealt with my case has been very unique. And I think people do want to know, like, am I harming my family by having them be a part of what I'm dealing with, or do I shut them out? I don't think there's always one answer for it, but I think, if I were to explain to you how I dealt with it, maybe it'll help you. So, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. If you like this video, please click like, and then leave me comments if you have questions. So I know this is a very sensitive topic, and maybe you want to know more about kind of, how to deal with things in your own situation. I'm definitely open to talking to folks. Okay, so I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.